Hi everyone, Laurie here. I just want to get straight into what we need to have a chat about. Straight in there, the family law inquiry that has just come out a few weeks ago that Pauline Hanson has finally been able to achieve. Many people thought that she couldn't do it. Myself, skeptical about it as well. As I've mentioned before on the page, that I've written down, one of the most important things about a leader, and she's a leader, all right, of her party, and as a fellow female in like a predominantly male movement or groups, I can definitely look up to her at the fact that she's been able to stay in her position. She has gone through rock bottom and picked herself back up. I mean, that is a true fighter, mate. So and she puts in the work, and she gets other people to put in the work as well, because that is how you get things done, guys and girls. You don't talk about them just on Facebook. I mean, yes, Facebook is a great way to vent, and it's a great way to get the message across, as I am doing now, but you actually got to put in the work. A lot of people throw ideas, they want this, I want this, we want a rally, we want this one. Okay, let's do it. And then they either disappear or they, want things to just be done their way, and they don't want to work in like a group. And at the end of the day, if you're going to work in an organization like in a political party or in anything, you got to work with people, and you got to understand that everybody's ideas has to come together, and what is best for the group, or what is best for the public, or what is best for the image or whatever is what has to be done. Okay, so anyways, the family law inquiry, it started in November. Okay, they're still at the beginning of it. They got 1 year to do it. That's not that much time. Okay, 1 year, even Pauline said so. That is not that much time. And going back to Pauline, like I understand, obviously being a migrant myself, that a lot of people will be very, skeptical and going, oh, Pauline, out of all people, to be doing this in family law inquiry. And let's look at something, right? We want family law to change. We know family law has hit rock bottom, right? We want family law to progress, to be equal, to be child focused. Let's look at Pauline Hanson. She has been a certain type of person. I mean, she's still very straight up, she still says it how it is, at least one of those things about her personality hasn't changed. But you can tell that she has grown, okay? She has progressed. She has hit rock bottom and she has picked herself back up. That is the same. That has to happen with all of us. This has happened with myself, and I mean, I'm constantly thinking and believing that I'm always growing, and you should always believe that too. You know what I mean? Every year that goes past, you should always have grown a little bit more. Okay, and be careful that you're not going backwards or staying the same, right? Because if you or me or anybody wants this broken system that has taken years to break, right, and it's just all muddled up, right, if we want that to change, because let's face it, after you get sucked into family law, family courts, it damages you. It damaged me, it damaged my family members, you know what I mean? It breaks people. And maybe that's part of the reason why it's hard to get things done, because it's like trying to work with so many broken people is quite tricky, it's quite challenging. So if any leader, any political leader wanted to ask for a family law inquiry to seek that it change and it progress, it would have to be somebody that has shown to do the same thing. Right? That goes for all of you. Everybody. You want family law to change? Change something about yourself. Progress yourself. Hopefully in a better way, in a better way for everybody around you, in a better way for the groups around you. Do you know what I mean? I can even tell you one thing. When in the past, when the fathers groups were mainly just males and they didn't really allow many females to get involved, right? I'm talking about, lots of years ago. Those same people changed, all right? Those same people changed, and they go, you know what? I think we do need to get the women in here. You know what I mean? They can bring a lot of value. We do make a lot of phone calls and do the typey, because that's what it takes. That's the work that it takes. It takes phone calls, typey, liaising, talking to people and getting things going. So you know, even they changed and said, okay, get the women involved, have a female leader as to represent the fathers, so we don't look like a bunch of angry dads anymore, because that's what they used to get called in the past. So even those veterans from other groups, you know, have changed and progressed. So it's time for you to do it. All right, it's time for you to do it. And the best way that I would suggest that you do it so you can help all of us, okay, is get active. Get involved, okay? Do some work. Do some unpaid work. Everything that I do on this page, and all the work, and all the people that I talk to, and all the families that I help on a daily basis, I have to stop myself sometimes and go, okay, I'm not going to do it on the weekend, not all hours of the night, right? You know, I've got to put, you know, myself and my family first, right? But I still help a lot of people all the time. Put in the work. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Sacrificing a little bit of yourself, sacrificing a bit of your time to help others, to help yourself, right? Because you want something to change, you got to put in the work, all right? That takes to my second thing that I got to talk about, the rally. So we are organizing a rally. We are getting a date sorted. It will most likely be November, either between November 13th or November 15th. It's going to be the Monday, between Monday and Thursday. Okay, so we're just checking with the stakeholders, and it is just Melbourne City. I'm sorry about every other state at this point, you know, until, you know, we can get more people involved. I mean, if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, what else can I do, you know, to help, apart from, you know, offer my entitled opinions on Facebook, what else can I do? Inbox the page and be willing to, if you haven't worked in an organization or corporation or anything like that before, in an office before, then be willing to learn and listen, right? And obviously offer ideas and stuff, but be willing to learn and be willing to listen and be willing to be led, okay, to do something, right? If you've worked in organizations before, project management, whatever, you know, in any office, you would understand already, you know, that about group work and teamwork and all that stuff. Because some people say, yeah, I can do teamwork, but then when it comes to teamwork, maybe not that great at teamwork. But that's okay. If you're not great at working with other people, you can still do a lot of great things. You can still go out and post posters in your shopping center, on your car. You gotta do those things. We're gonna be posting those out on the page, okay, very soon, okay, the flyer, all right, with the 8 things that we believe that need to be changed in family law. And these 8 points, okay, have been thoroughly researched, thoroughly talked about, and voted democratically within these movements. Okay, so these are not just things that just 1 or 2 people have come up with. These have been discussed in detail for years. So obviously the first one being 50-50 custody. That's hands down, right? The other one that I can think of off the top of my head would be, you know, having parental alienation as, you know, recognized in family law or in the legal system to be a form of child abuse. You know, we want these things and you want these things, all right? So let's get you and me and everybody to put in the work, all right, to do that. And I'm not saying I'm a super organized person. I live in Melbourne. I got people, you know, I got someone in Queensland, okay, a lady in Queensland who's offered her admin help, the way that she's good at admin work, who works in project management, who knows what it's like to work in that area, who's helping me, you know, keep me on track, keep me doing, you know, things that I need to do. For example, if I need to find the date or talk to the stakeholders and I forgot to do it yesterday or the day before, she'll hold me to it. So I still have people holding me to do things. I still need people to help me. Do you know what I mean? And that is why I talk in these videos about, you know, giving tips and information about how to help you. And that's why I always try to motivate you, dads, about how to take on your case. So the rally is coming. Once I put that date out, I'm sure you're all going to get on board. And it is really about posting those flyers and posters around your area and going outside and talking to people. And if you want to be part of the team, you'll have to read a 2-page, you know, agreement form and just sign it and say you agree to, you know, to being part of this movement and agree to the rules and policies. And obviously, the Fathers' Right movement has a very, very impeccable image. So we don't promote hate. okay, in any form. We don't say stop hating your ex, hate the system. We don't promote that, okay? We really don't. It's not about hate, okay? It's about change. It's about progression. It's about it's time to do this. Let's get it done. All right, we get it's all broken. Let's get over that hurdle and let's put in the ideas and let's get it implemented. All right. It's about the right energy. It's about being non-gender biased, which can be very tricky in these kind of movements, you know. And I understand, and believe me, I understand because I cop it a lot. But that doesn't stop me, okay, from helping you guys and girls. All right, it doesn't stop me, you know. And some people think, oh, you know, if you're going to tell me what to do, you know, that I can't really handle that because it's you, sort of thing, then that it didn't take much to stop you from doing, you know, the stuff that you want to do to help this country. You know what I mean? If I had to stop every time that somebody had a go at me because of whatever reason, you know, then I wouldn't be sitting here talking doing this video. It goes over the head and I just keep doing what I need to do. So anyways, we need you guys and girls to get on board with the rally sooner than later, okay? And we'll post the flyer and the posters for you to start getting it around, and I will put them up in my area as well, and I will take pictures, and you got to take pictures and post it on the page every time you post it somewhere. Okay, we need to see that you're doing it. Everybody needs to see that we're all doing it, right? We all need to be doing it. You know, we're all in the shopping center, on your car, you know what I mean? Anywhere, just take a pic, post it on the page. Here, I've posted the flyer. Even if you just do that once, even if you just do it on your car, even if you just put it outside your window at your house, you've done it. People are going to see it. People are going to watch. And if you're going to be that kind of person that can go out and talk to people in the street and hand out flyers like that, okay, you need to contact us, and we need to give you a little bit of feedback and a little bit of, you know, a little bit of a chat on how you need to talk to people, because, you know, first of all, you got to be really careful how you talk, because you're representing an organization who has a very good image, by the way. And second of all, you're going to get opposers, so you need to know how to deal with those opposers. And so yeah, anyway, going a bit of a tangent with that. The last thing in that area before I talk about, you know, you know, what comes, a lot of the questions that come up a lot when I talk to dads about how to deal with their case, all right? Social media, we all love it. We're all addicted to it. Hey, you know, the family law inquiries come out. It's made a lot of people go crazy, you know, in a good way and a bad way. It made all of us go, you know. So the opposers are going to oppose. The haters are going to hate. Let them hate. Let them say all the things that they want to say. Let them look like the haters that they are. Let them do their hating job, okay? Try, for the love of God and for the love of all good things and for the love of your children, for the love of everything that we're trying to do here, for the love of the fact that we've all worked so hard and put in so much blood, sweat and tears into this, right? Don't retaliate. Please try to stop yourself from typing a comment on Facebook that you know you're probably going to regret later, because guess what? Channel 9 News, Channel 7, Channel 10, you know what they do? You know what they call news these days? They'll snapshot somebody's comment and go, whoa, this is what the public believes, or this is what, you know, this group believes. And that might be your comment that you regretted later, but they've snapshotted. They actually call that news, okay? So you got to be careful what you post. Our group, okay, there are really good groups out there and there are really questionable groups out there, all right? I think you really should do your research, all right? The Fathers' Right movement is an international organization, okay? They are across the planet. The way they do things, you know, maybe some people don't agree, maybe some people think they should be more radical, who knows? But whatever they're doing works, okay? They have a really good image, okay? They're non-gender bias, you know, and they're very well respected. And people know that once they come into a country, they are going to get the work done. Okay, we're going to get it done. It might take 10 years, it might take 5 years, it might take 15 years, but we will get the work done, right? When you press like or you join another group, you got to do your research, yeah? You really got to do your research. Just Google them. If there's not much about them, then it's just a person that has created a group on Facebook and is running that page the way they want to. Always observe what kind of person, all right, is running a social media page, because you got to be careful these days. Some people, have, cray ideas. There was a page recently that I saw that was actually promoting some really twisted stuff, that got on the news, and that can make us all look bad. I actually don't even want to say what it was, because I don't want to give it any more attention. Do you know what I mean? But, that kind of stuff is like, can ruin it for all of us. One person who has a crazy idea, and trying to tell everybody else to do the same thing, okay, it can really, ruin it for everybody else. And if you see that, do yourself and everybody else a favor. Unfriend, unlike, unfollow, and stick to groups that you do your research and that have a good reputation, who are going to be the leaders and who are going to do the things the right way, so yeah, please be careful with that, with what you're doing on social media. Obviously, I always say, try not to have your real name and your face and all that stuff on your Facebook and stuff, because it's Facebook. Social media is not meant to portray your real life. It's just not. So, plus, if you got your ex and her people, following you and stalking you on Facebook, you just want to protect yourself, yeah? So, anyways, the third thing is, let's talk about court process. We've got about 4 minutes. Maybe I'll go a little bit over 20 minutes, yeah? Let's talk about what kind of motivation succeeds in custody cases, that where you either win a substantial amount of custody, or like we promote 50-50 custody, because we're not about taking children away from any parent. Okay, it's just not, this is not the group. If you think that you are deserving of more custody for whatever reason, and you don't like the fact that we promote 50-50, sorry, but that is how this group has been able to, go across the planet. Okay, having that integrity, all right, being equal, right, wanting real equality. So anyways, what is the common denominator that I can tell you and that I've noticed that has gotten dads quicker cases where they have been able to achieve 50-50 custody? All right, what is the common denominator? I'm going to tell you right now, and it's a lot easier said than done. Okay, so their motivation was love of their children and child focused. I'll repeat that. Love of the children and child focus. Much easier said than done. And I'll tell you why. And you know this. You know what I'm going to say. You know where I'm getting at. It is very hard to stay child focused, okay, when the ex is making all sorts of serious allegations about you, all right, that aren't true, and you just think, what, the gloves are off. I'm just going to say all the things that I know about her that are true, by the way, and an affidavit, and I'll show her to say, BS about me. That is going to get you bad points, all right? That is going to put you on the same level as her, and that is going to prolong your case. And you got to remember, judges aren't dumb. Okay, you have much better chances today. There's been a shift in your favor. Nothing is formally written down, okay? But again, family law says that you are 50-50 custody, before you go to court, or then it's up to the court's discretion, you know what I mean? So, and then women were still getting more custody even before they were going to court. So it was more of a culture thing, okay? So, but it has changed in your favor. Today you have much more chances and much better chances that your children get to have a relationship with both parents equally, okay, if you have the right motivation, okay? It's hard, especially if you've had a very heartbreaking, breakup, where she has gone out and cheated and gone off with somebody else. That is really personal. That is really hard and heartbreaking, and I don't condone it in any shape or form, okay? But unfortunately, that is not a valid reason, okay, under the Family Law Act, that is going to equate you more custody. For example, I'll be much more simple about it. There are sometimes dads that come up and say, well, she cheated on me with my neighbor, for example, and she's run off with him, so now I want full custody. That's not going to work. That's not how it works. There's nothing in Family Law Act that says that if a spouse has committed infidelity or has cheated, that now means that A, you know, she's less of a parent and not a good parent, and B, she deserves less in the settlement or the property settlement. There's nothing even remotely, okay, relevant or close to saying something like that. America, the USA, there are some states, and there's 52 states over there, so there are, not all the states are like that, but there are some states that, yes, if there's infidelity, you don't get anything. Or if there's infidelity, you're probably considered not a very, you know, good person, blah, blah, blah. That ain't Australia. That's not Australia. If there was no intimacy in the relationship, you know, we have some dads that say, well, we weren't intimate, you know, for a couple of years, so, you know, we weren't in a relationship. But if you were still living together, and, you know, marriage, you go through, you know, dry spells and all that, and you got to remember, the judges are older people as well, right? Like they're, you know, they're middle-aged or something like that, so they've been married a long time, you know, they know what it's like, okay? They don't want you, dads, to go in there and say, I am perfect, Mr. Perfect parent, Mr. Perfect husband, and I have no idea why she has decided to leave and take the children. That is not what they want from you. They want you to go and say, I admit to, you know, the breakdown of the relationship. I admit that I have sometimes yelled, or, you know, or I've sometimes been switched off when I come home and not given the children much attention. Just stuff that happens with all of us, happens with mums too. But my children deserve to have a relationship with me because, you know, my children benefit from it, X, Y, and Z. Okay, that is how you go into court. Okay, when you start noticing that when you're talking to people and you are obsessing or talking more about the ex doesn't work, the ex is on benefits, the ex should afford to do everything because she's on benefits, you know, etc., etc., the ex cheated, the ex did this, the ex made false allegations, you need to start realizing that you have not even said anything about the children. You got to remember, in every conversation, you need to start off with saying, my children are suffering because of this breakdown. Oh my God, I need to do something to preserve their innocence, or to keep them away from our adult problems, and I need to make sure that they are okay, and so that they have a relationship with me, and so they're not confused as to what is happening. And my ex did this, this, and that, right? That is how you are going to start getting used to writing on your affidavit that you are much more child-focused than ex-focused. Okay, so that is a common denominator that happens when dads win their cases, when they stick to being child-focused and they stick to the love of their children. And, you know, they get into court as soon as possible. You know, had we known that we could self-represent, you know, we would have done it from the start. You know, I know it's scary and daunting thought, but if there's a will, there's a way. You know, that's what judges want to see. They want to see how dedicated are you really, you know, and how much of a father are you really, you know, how much are you willing to put yourself through, right, to make sure that your children have a relationship with both parents. You know, are you willing to come into court yourself and deal with me and everything around that's around this, you know, this community, this legal community, you know, to fight for your children's rights? Are you willing to travel to take a day off work? Are you willing to pay, you know, maybe $30? You can have those fees waived for a documentation. Most of the applications documentations are free, all right? So it doesn't really cost that much to get to court, you know, to get into family court. You just have to get in there. So anyways, let's see, that's as much as I can, you know, go into at the moment. We're already at 24 minutes. And yeah, like I say, get into court, get child focused. Oh, one last thing, a little thing that comes up a lot as well, you know, and I'm going to tell you from a single father's point of view, as I grew up with a single father, okay? The very few times that I spoke to my mother, okay, in the 14 years that she was gone, out of, you know, they lived in another country, 12 or, I don't know, around there, over a decade. You know, my father obviously would get some benefits for myself and my brother, you know, for having been in his full-time care. And my mum wouldn't give him a cent in child support. not a cent. Well, she was in another country anyway. He didn't want her money, but still, like, she really, you know, she's a narc, man. Like, she's, you know, let's not even go there. Like, she's my mom and I love her, but, you know, she ain't a good person. She really still believes that because she's a woman, she doesn't deserve, she shouldn't have to pay child support. I don't know, you know, totally disagree. But anyways, you know, we would talk to her not that often, maybe once a year, maybe not, and she would say, I would say something like, yeah, you know, we have camp, for example, but, you know, Dad can't afford it, or, yeah, Dad had to, you know, go get a loan to pay for our books because our school books were like almost $1,000 every year, you know, you know that, and, you know, I would just say stuff like that. I wasn't asking her for money or anything like that. I never asked her for anything. And she would just jump down my throat and say, oh, but your father's getting benefits. Oh, he's getting benefits. Or he gets Centrelink. You know, he gets plenty of money in Centrelink. Like, he should be able to buy a house. You know, he should be able to buy two houses with all that money that the government gives him. I mean, every time she would jump down our throats with that same thing. And sometimes I believed it, you know. Sometimes I'd be like, Dad, well, you get money for us, so where's my car, or why can't I go to camp, or why can't I do this, or where's my new clothes, and, you know. And my dad had to sit down. Sometimes he'd get pretty paid off, you know, but he had to sit down and be like, that money, this was 15 years ago. That money that I get for having you guys from Centrelink or from the government barely covers the basic bills. Barely covers the basic bills, okay? And, you know, we would say, we don't, you know, well, Mum says, and he wouldn't even say, well, she doesn't even give me a cent in child support. He wouldn't even say that, you know what I mean? Like, he never even brought that up, but he would just shake his head and say, that's not true. Like, it really is not true. It's, that money does not even cover the basic bills. And mind you, you know, he lived in, like, you know, in government housing. So he was paying really cheap rent, and it was still very hard to live that week by week on Centrelink benefits with 2 teenage kids. So I say this because this is a single father, okay? And it comes up a lot when dads say, oh, well, she's getting benefits, so she should be, you know, rolling in the money. Dudes, you know,